On this episode, we're going to be building Delaque Gangs with a single box and with additional boxes.
Dome Runners TV, your guide to the Underhive and beyond.
Hey there, Scabby Scummers and Gangers, Crimson Oracle here with another episode of Dome Runners TV. Today we are going to be delving into building Delaque lists, specifically looking at building a Delaque list with 1 to 2 boxes. Obviously, there is a way to spend absurd amounts of money on a Necromunda gang, but part of my goal with these videos is to show the ways that you can get an effective gang for, under $100, generally speaking, right around $100 for 2 boxes, just a little bit over if you wind up going for 2 boxes and the upgrade sprue. But we are going to get into it now, so let's go ahead and jump in. If you like our content, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. That's how other people find out about it. And of course, we have a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can help keep the show running. So check us out there, patreon.com/domerunners. Okay, so when we're starting with a Delaque gang, of course you're starting with the Delaque box. And it's a cool box. It's got a lot of interesting stuff. It's very aesthetically pleasing, but it's also a little bit quirky in that a bunch of the models are kind of on models' backpacks. So you've got a long rifle that's on backpack, you've got an auto gun that's on backpack, and you've got a web gauntlet that's on a model's hip. So this is something you kind of have to work around if you are just working with one box and you don't have any spare hand bits that you can get from anywhere else to kind of fill in the gaps. So, just looking over what we got in the kit, you get 2 long rifles, 2 shock staves, 2 web gauntlets, 2 hand flamers, 4 auto pistols, 2 grav pistols, 4 las pistols, 2 flechette pistols, 4 stub guns, 2 pairs of throwing knives, 2 shotguns, 2 auto guns, which are holstered, 2 sets of throwing knives which go on the belt, and 2 holstered pistols. So this is obviously a solid base of stuff to kind of build from. Now, it's a little more close combat oriented than you might necessarily think for a gang like Delaque, but I think it actually kind of works well for them in some ways. So obviously you start with a leader. Personally, I like to run my leaders close combat oriented, and the kit is kind of based around that idea, with the leader probably intended to get the shock stave. So I say, why not just go with what the kit is planning on there. And of course, flechette pistol is a unique Delaque weapon, so why not go with that? I'd like to make this model a psyker. They're going to be up front, and the Delaque psychic powers are, generally speaking, fairly close range. And of course, go for some mesh armor to help keep them around a little bit longer. And so that's a build, obviously, that's from the actual cover of the box. It's very easy, you can get that done from the instructions. So Phantom, they are 85 credits. I think if our leader's going close combat, having another one of our champions be more close combat oriented is a good idea. So for our Phantom, we'd probably go with the web gauntlet that is on the model's hip. And then in the other hand, maybe go grav pistol, which is not cheap. Grav pistol is pulling up my book now. Grav pistol is a 90 credit upgrade, so not cheap at all. And then make this one a psyker too, and go for some mesh armor, 15. Now, since we invested so much in our first 2, I like to potentially take a little bit of a cheaper champion. It also helps that there aren't any real heavy weapons in the kit, and the only special weapon is a long rifle. So go for a long rifle on this one. Maybe give him or her a photo goggles and mesh armor. 15. Now, the long rifle, as I mentioned, is stored on the back. But if you actually look in the kit, the long rifle guy is intended to have a sight and a magazine that's being pulled out of a belt or out of a pouch. So this one, if you want to build that one, then you just give them those arms and you're good. And I know it's a little bit, it's not as fun to kind of build exactly what's in the kit. In fact, we also built the champion that's in the kit too, with the grav pistol and the web gauntlet. And they're kind of they're forcing our hand here a little bit with the odd combos. For example, if you wanted to give your leader a grav pistol and shock stave, they're both left-handed weapons, so you'd have to do some kind of conversion, and that's not really the point of what we're doing here, so we're not talking about conversions. So now we've got the core leadership of the gang. Be a good idea to throw in some gangers. So Ghost is 40 credits. You go for just a bog standard autogun ganger. Now the autogun is stowed on the back, so you're probably going to want to do something with the arms, and you could go for like a knife and pistol combo, but that's like another 25 credits, which is pretty expensive. And I find that stacking up a lot of gear on gangers just isn't that useful, unlike with champions and leaders. So I would tend to go for something a little more utilitarian, like a smoke grenade. That's 15 credits, and boom. Go for 2 of these guys, and that can be built sort of exactly as comes on the sprue, because there are a grenade hand that's pulling a pin or a grenade hand that's tossing, so we got options. And now we go for another ghost, 40 credits, and a shotgun, and we take 2 of those guys. Now the shotgun is a right hand only weapon. It's not held in 2 hands. So you could give them grenades, but I think that your ghosts who have shotguns are much more likely to get into close combat than your autoguns, who are going to be, keeping their distance. So I think giving them, a stiletto knife for 20 is a nice way to bump them up a little bit. And now we're at 925 credits, so probably would go for like a shadow, like a juve. They're 25 credits, and based off of what's in the kit, you could go pistol knife, but that's pretty expensive. The pistols, however, are very cheap, so you could go dual auto pistol. And while it's -1 to hit if you fire both out of combat, I'm not sure if it is out of combat. If you if you were to take them, if you were to fight a close combat, I believe the rules for close combats in pistols are different from shooting with 2 pistols. In that the sidearm rule just adds an extra attack. So the shadow would get 2 pistol attacks as well as their unarmed attacks. I believe that's how it works. And double up there. So we've got kind of a breaching team. You got the ghost with the shotguns. You've got the shadows running out front, and then kind of in the middle you have the leader and the web gauntlet phantom kind of coming up and doing this sort of more serious killing action. And then you've got a couple of autogun gangers to hang back or potentially even hang near the long rifle and throw smoke in order to keep the long rifle safe. And just in case, an auto pistol on the phantom will bring us up to a full 1,000 credits. Now, when you add the upgrade kit, which I believe is around $25, $30, something like that, so it puts it in the $75 range for the 2 together, you get 2 flamers, 4 las guns, 2 long rifles, 2 web pistols, 2 plasma pistols, 2 plasma guns, 2 web guns, 2 melta guns, 2 sets of throwing knives, 2 hand flamers, and 2 grav guns. So that's a pretty hefty upgrade. I mean, that's a ton of options. And they could definitely make your gang very expensive if you're not careful. So let's go ahead and build a list that allows us to have a little bit more creativity and freedom. We'll stick to the shock stave on the leader for close combat, but we're going to go for a plasma pistol. Oh wait, you know what? You can't take the shock stave in the plasma pistol. So let's go for stiletto knife, 20, and plasma pistol. Go for a little bit of different take on the leader here. This one's going to be more focused on the mid-range shooting and less focused on getting into combat. And we'll go for a mesh armor, 15. And of course, we go for a phantom, 85 credits. And, you know, I mean, I'm a sucker for web guns. And that's, I believe, 115 credits. And keep this one cheap. Just some mesh armor. Go for another phantom. We could go for the long rifle phantom again. I think it would be fun to try something different. So why not go for a grav gun? You don't see too many of those on the table. And those cost 120 credits. So more expensive on the main crew here. But we got options, you know, it's nice to take them. So we go for a ghost, I suppose, for 40. And maybe go for the exact same auto gun. And actually, you know, you could go for las gun for 15. So we got some of those from the upgrade sprue. Oops. I accidentally was covering up all the stuff I was adding. So as you can see, we're off to a good start here. So the las guns are two-handed, so you're not having to worry about having it stowed on the back. I go for a couple of those. Go for maybe another ghost with maybe go for a specialist with a long rifle. Maybe go for ghost with a flechette pistol. And that puts us at 7. And for an 8th guy, maybe the shotgun. 30. Puts us at 8. And we could go for a shadow at... Oh yeah, the shotgun, I forgot. Shotgun's only one hand, so you probably want to do something with the other hand. So we'll go for a smoke grenade here. And then that still leaves us cash for a shadow at 25 credits. Let's spend up to 20. We'll just stick to our old reliable of the auto pistol. All right. And get 10 extra credits to spend. Could do a stun grenade. The question is who to give it to. Just checking if the shadow can take them, and they can, so why not? Stun grenade. 10. And boom. 1,000 credits, 9 models. And you got some very distinct options here. You know, you're putting las guns on the field, so you know, you're not going to have the sort of rapid fire auto guns, but they're going to be more effective at mid range. You've got, you know, only one set of smoke grenades. On your shotgun fighter, you don't have a sidearm on the long rifle, but you do have both a grab gun and a web gun, which can really get in there and do some damage. So now we'll hop over and we'll look at building with the Noxghoul kit. So the Noxghoul kit comes with the Noxghouls, it comes with 2 of the prospects, the Psygeists, it comes with 2 of the pets, the Psychoteric Worms, and of course it comes with the Brute. Now the Brute cannot be included in the starting list, so even though it's a great choice, we're going to be leaving it out. And we're just going to kind of dive in to what we can do with that added to our arsenal. So I'll probably take the leader that we built in our first list as our leader here, because we are back to having those same limitations of only 1 box of the Delaque kit. And then I'll do a Noxghoul, first champion, and that is going to run us 110 credits. Now the Noxghoul has 2 different weapon options. You've got the Shiver Sword and you've got the Serpent's Fangs. They're both very good, but the Shiver Sword is a little bit cheaper, and we can give the guy auto pistol in the other hand because we'll have the spare bits most likely. And mesh armor. Oh, do Psyker and mesh armor. Now we go for a regular Phantom. In fact, go for this exact same long rifle Phantom we did before. Oops. Weird. Doesn't usually work that way. All right. All right, and so we're at 585, so we're still doing pretty well on our costs. And then you want to go for some ghosts. They are 40, and probably go auto gun and smoke grenades like before. And go for 2 of those. We're at 5 models right now. And now I think it's a good time to add a Psygeist. Now, these are, if I'm being completely honest, not the best model. They have a couple different issues. First of all, they are a little bit weak at casting, but they are paying basically full price for their psychic powers. And while, you know, you can do some things to improve willpower, it's tough to start out with a psyker who's not very good at casting. But they do have an option, which is a little over the top, called the Psychomancer's Harness. Now, this is not just a weapon, it's like a full-on servo suit upgrade. So it makes their movement 8 inches, and it gives them the the equivalent of similar attacks to the Noxghoul's Fangs, where you're ignoring armor, and it's paired, so you're doubling your attacks. But they only hit on a 4-up, so they're not exactly going to be out punching Orlok leaders or something. But they are, it's an option. It kind of distracts from their focus as a psyker, but because this list has got some up close and personal elements, I think having this guy running around is going to be useful to some extent. And why not take another Psygeist while we're having fun with it for 60 credits, and go for like auto pistol and stiletto knife. And that leaves us 20 credits. And with that, we could buy a few different things. Here we go for photo goggles on the leader. That way, in case our smoke grenades are getting used, the leader has some cover from them. I can shoot through them, that is. And that gives us 1,000 credits. As you can see, the greater flexibility is going to come with the upgrade box, but there's a little bit more kind of variety of options when you buy the Noctical box. It is one of those situations where this is a gang I personally went with all three, because I just, I really like all of the different choices. I like the Nocticals a lot. I like the Piscean Spectre. I really like the ability to have, more options for the Delaque arms, and I like the aesthetic of the Delaque weapons. So personally, I went with all three. That's around $125. Your mileage may vary with what you kind of want out of the list, but I recommend definitely kind of noodling around before you make your purchases. Figure out your list first and then buy your stuff. That way you're not buying anything you don't need to start out. So, what are your thoughts? What Delaque lists would you build with 1 box, 2 boxes, however you want to kind of break it down? I'd love to hear from folks about, what their personal preference for builds are, how you like to play your Delaque, because I'm just one person. I can't be kind of monolithically predicting how everybody does it. I'm sure there are people who are like, no, I run my Delaque as like all hang back and shoot. We've got lots of options. We can give lots of people long rifles. Why not just go for that route? But I'm personally more of a get up close and get to know people kind of person. I've even got a close combat oriented Van Sar list, so I'm the weirdo. But that's my kind of take on building this gang out with just a couple of boxes, and that about covers it. Thanks as always to my patrons. You guys help me keep this show on the air. I couldn't afford the software that I edit all this stuff in if it wasn't for your gracious contributions. You too can become a patron for as little as $2 a month. Just hop on over to patreon.com/domerunners. There's also a podcast, Dome Runners, on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, etc. So check that out if you're interested in more Necromunda info. We've got a great episode of a panel discussion where we run down a lot of extra thoughts on House of Shadows. And of course, as always, everybody stay safe and don't forget to change your paint water.